Air raid sirens sounded twice in the capital as NATO's new Secretary-General Mark Rutte visited Kyiv on his first official trip in the role. He met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy and discussed Ukraine's so-called victory plan. Mr. Rutte promised Kyiv that the military alliance would continue to support Ukraine in its defence against Russia's invasion. Here he is at a joint press conference with the Ukrainian president.
Ukraine is closer to NATO than ever before and will continue on this path until you become a member of our alliance. I very much look forward to that day. And this is why we are so committed to supporting Ukraine, because your security matters for ours, and your fight for freedom reflects our core principles and values.
And this, of course, comes a day after Russian soldiers captured a key town in eastern Ukraine. Russia's defense ministry has now confirmed its win in Vuhledar in Ukraine's Donetsk region. Video posted on social media appears to show Russian troops raising flags across the town. Ukrainian forces there retreated to avoid being surrounded. The victory at the intersection of two battlefields could make it easier for Russia to break through Ukraine's defensive lines. More on this from military analyst Marina Miron from King's College London. Welcome back, Marina. Both sides have been fighting over this town for 2 years. What is it that changed? Why did Ukraine lose control of Vuhledar?
Good evening, Phil. Well, the first issue that we have to consider is the Ukrainian operation in Kursk. Obviously, it left several very important defense pillars of the Ukrainian armed forces understaffed. And of course, Ukraine doesn't have enough artillery shells. It's trying to supplement with drones. And so those two places would be Pokrovsk and Vuhledar, which has now fallen to Russian control. Also, the Russians, from their side, they have adjusted their tactics. They're using a lot of fabs in order to shape the battlefield, so to say, and it's quite demoralizing for the Ukrainian armed forces located there. And they are trying to attack along the flanks. So they have worked out a tactical approach which seems to be working with all two branches working in coordination, so the Air Force, the Army, Aviation, and the Russian Army.
And is this a significant win for Russian forces in that area?
Well, it is, because Vuhledar is, firstly, a good defensible position. It's located on a height. The second thing is that it opens up the way for the Russians to Kurakhove, which is, if you look at the map and you look at the river located to the north of Kurakhove, it would be difficult to storm from the north. So that now the Russians have the opportunity to get to Kurakhove from the south. It also opens up the road to broader Zaporizhia region, towns like Gulaipole, for instance. So it's not clear where the Russians will be going next, but it did destroy one of important defense posts for the Ukrainian armed forces. And it's not only the military strategic side that counts here, but also it's a huge impact on the Ukrainian armed forces morale.
And NATO's new Secretary-General Mark Rutte was in Kyiv today. President Zelenskyy asked again for Ukraine to be allowed to use long-range missiles to strike inside Russia. Would a yes to that request actually change the situation on the battlefield in the east?
Well, the problem is that Ukraine doesn't have enough long-range missiles in order to make a significant impact and change the dynamics on the in the Donbass. So if yes were said, then there should be a greater commitment with deep strike systems provided to Ukraine. And of course, we know that the targeting data would have to be provided by NATO, all the satellite imagery on high-value targets, on industrial sites, on military sites inside Russia. So yes, with all that Ukraine has at its disposal now will have most likely an operational effect, but it certainly is not going to change the dynamics of the battlefield.
Okay, thank you for that, Marina. Marina Miron, military analyst from King's College London.
Thank you for having me.
Straight to Kyiv and our correspondent Max Zander, who was at that press conference. Welcome, Max. Ukraine closer to NATO than ever before. Not a new message from the new NATO chief.
Oh, that is correct. I think that the main point that the new NATO chief, Mark Rutte, in this case, was trying to make at his first visit ever in this position, in his first visit to Kyiv in this position, is to emphasize that although there is a new leader at the helm of NATO, that the course is still the same, and that NATO is pledging solidarity, that Ukraine will be supported along the way. So this trip had a symbolic meaning, there's a lot of symbolic value here. I think this message was received here in Kyiv today. But apart from that, no concrete measures were announced, no timelines, etc. The agenda, for a large part, was secret. What we do know is that they did speak about President Zelenskyy's victory plan, though we do not know about the details of the plan or these discussions. Likely, the talks today, this meeting will also be in preparation of a meeting in a larger format, in the Ramstein meeting. This is supposed to take place on October 12th, where two very important issues will be raised, also by the Ukrainians. One is the use of long-range weapons to target or to attack targets within Russian territory. Western-provided weapons, something that, for example, Germany and the US oppose of, but President Zelenskyy today again made clear that this is very important to be able to properly defend itself. And then with winter on the way, there still is a lack of air defense capabilities here in Ukraine. NATO countries have pledged to deliver more air defense systems, but there was rare criticism by President Zelenskyy at this meeting today, stating that the transfer of these weapons is prolonged by the Allies and it's simply taking too much time.
And air raid sirens sounded during Mr. Rutte's visit. How dangerous is it for a top NATO official to travel to Ukraine these days?
Right. I mean, these meetings happen with very tight security, and they are planned in secrecy. So, for example, us journalists were invited to this presser. We did not know who the VIP would be until he actually entered the room, though it was clear that it's likely going to be Mark Rutte. The Russians likely know of this visit well beforehand. It certainly was not a coincidence that air raid sirens sounded twice during this visit, likely to send a message there. But let me remind you, this war has been taking place for more than 2.5 years now. There have been countless visits of high-level delegations, including the U.S. president, and so far none of these delegations have been directly impacted. And that is due to very tight security, but also Russia probably has very little to gain from directly impacting a foreign guest.
Thank you for that, Max. Max Zander in Kyiv.